Tell me, why is Linux the future of gaming?
Linux has the advantage of being able to set up emulations that imitate anything from Nintendo to Windows.
I've heard the jokes about a Linux version that is best for those who want to emulate the best of Windows XP, as if there is anything good about Windows XP.
Linux lets you run Windows games, Nintendo games, Xbox games, and the little JavaScript and Java-based games that you could play on your smartphone.
So Linux is good for playing any type of game.
And you can even play Nibbles, the equivalent of that worm game on old Microsoft PCs. There's a Linux or Unix ripoff of all the classic 1980s games, or you can even find a way to play those old arcade games on the Linux system.
That's the gaming of the past, not the future.
If you have Linux, you can use pretty much any hardware and software and peripheral.
So Linux is plug and play with any game. The ease of using any hardware is offset by the difficulty of cobbling together the software and drivers to do it.
If you have a Linux system, you can play any game now and in the future, on any device you want. You could use the same Linux system to play Wii games of today, or 5 years from now.
Assuming Wii games are still around in 5 years.
Use a Linux system, and you could play today's Wii games on a Linux system in 20 years.
Talk about a time warp.
Another benefit of Linux is the ability to use hardware that is otherwise obsolete.
That's because Linux uses less memory and resources than Windows.
Linux in some ways is the future of gaming, because you can use a PC you already own and run 3D and other resource-intensive games on it, instead of having to get a gaming-specific device.
You have to use specific hardware to run Steam and some streaming games.
There are Linux versions that are compatible with that, and better yet, Linux does not have the always-on and constantly spying on you features that Xbox and Sony have.
Linux is well known for security.
Linux gives you far better security than Sony and Xbox, which have seen user accounts hacked.
Isn't that just going to result in a lot of spam on gaming networks and email?
Are you paying for online access to World of Warcraft, or have your credit card tied to the Sony account to pay for online game rentals? If you are using Linux, you are less likely to have your financial information lost in general.
Yeah. The NSA snooping on private conversations and watching you through the Xbox Kinect is pretty much impossible to resist.
Linux does have more protection against that too, since it is essentially managed by hackers.
I'll be happy just being able to get old games and new ones.
Fewer hardware errors, interoperability, and better gaming performance are the greater reasons why Linux is the future of gaming.
Knowing I can use the same gaming station to play 1980s arcade games and 2020 3D games is reason enough to use Linux.
And being able to say I use Linux in the Xbox versus Sony debates on gaming sites is a big plus.